Choosing the right niche for podcasting. One of the biggest mistakes that people make with podcasting is that they don't choose the right niche. Because it is relatively easy to create a podcast, there is a temptation just to jump right in without thinking about the long-term possibilities of what you are doing. But if you are serious about making money through podcasting, then you need to choose a niche that you are comfortable with that will also provide you with money-making opportunities. A lot of experts will tell you that you should always choose a niche that you are passionate about. This is particularly important when podcasting, as the listeners will hear the passion in your voice. But the problem here is that not all passions are profitable. While there are a ton of potential money-making opportunities with a niche like dog training, there are a lot less with stamp collecting and model railways. So, when you are considering a niche for your podcast, you need to think about two important factors. Is there demand, and is there commercial opportunity? You may be thinking at this stage that if you know nothing about a niche, that it is in demand and has a good commercial opportunity, how can you be passionate about it? Well, the answer is that you can certainly become really interested in a niche like this, and when this happens, your passion will rise to the surface. Listeners, trust experts. When you choose a niche that is in demand, you will get a lot more followers with your podcasts. People who are interested in the niche will automatically believe you to be an authority, even if you are not. Now, we are not recommending that you try to create podcasts when you know nothing about a niche. That's just dumb. Because these days, you can learn a lot about a niche in a very short time. There are plenty of resources online, and you can obtain high-quality training courses for a lot of different niches. You will need to put in some effort initially to get up to speed, and you will want to get to the point where you know more about your niche than most people interested in it will know. This does not have to take you a long time. Just immerse yourself into the niche for a few days and you will learn a great deal. What you are doing here is faking it till you make it, which you might not feel that comfortable with right now. But after immersing yourself into your chosen niche for a while, you will feel a whole lot better about everything. The best way to establish yourself as an expert with your listeners is to provide them with valuable tips and advice in your podcasts. Even if you are not well known, it will not take long for most of your listeners to warm to you and trust you as an authority. Once you have achieved this, then you can start recommending related products and services. So, choose an in-demand niche with good commercial opportunities and stick with it. Whatever you do, don't go dancing around from one niche to another. You will lose your listeners very quickly if you do this. How to choose the right niche. The best way to start to identify your niche for podcasting is to write down a list of your interests and passions. Also include niches that you know a lot about, even if you do not consider that you are passionate about this. Have a look at different podcasting websites to see which niches are the most popular. Also, you can use the Google Keyword Planner and see how many searches are happening each month for niche ideas that you have. If there are thousands, then you are on the right track. For each of your niche ideas, use Google to see if there are products and services available that you can become an affiliate for and make money. Just search for niche name plus affiliate programs. The more affiliate opportunities that you can find for a niche, the better. You can also head over to ClickBank.com and see if there are any digital products on offer there for your niche ideas. ClickBank is the world leader in digital products, and they sell products in tons of different niches. You can also check out physical product opportunities on Amazon.com, where you can become an affiliate and make money. Eliminate any niche ideas that do not have the demand, tested with the Google Keyword Planner, or not enough commercial opportunities in the form of affiliate offers that you can promote. Once you have done that, you can move on to the next step. How can you help people? With the remaining niche ideas on your list, write down how you can help people in each one. In every niche, there are problems, and at this stage, just identify these and don't worry if you can solve them for people or not. So, for example, if your niche idea was making money online, then there are a ton of problems that you can come up with here, including, which is the best online business model? How do I stay motivated with my online business? What is the best web hosting? What is the best autoresponder? These are the kinds of questions that people interested in the niche ask every day. You can find the answers later online. Having a number of problems to solve and the ability to provide solutions for them is a strong indicator of a good niche. Who is your competition? For the niche ideas that remain on your list, check out the competition. Having competition in a niche is a good thing, as it tends to show that there is demand and also commercial opportunity. Other podcasters want to make money as well as you do, so never be concerned about competition. Take a look at what kind of podcasts your competitors are putting out and think about how you can find another angle or do it better. Your aim is to stand out from the crowd. How many followers do your competitors have? What subjects are they creating podcasts about? If you really like a niche idea but are concerned that it doesn't have the right level of commercial opportunity, then don't worry, because there are a number of different ways that you can monetize the podcast you create, which we will cover in a later video. Introduction. There's never been a better time to start your own podcast. Sales of smartphones over recent years have fueled more interest in podcasts, and now there are more podcast listeners than ever before. And the numbers are growing every year. A number of marketers have tried to create a successful podcast and failed. This is because they tried to use outdated methods to get their podcast noticed, or because they just didn't know what they were doing. Well, now you can learn from a podcast expert on how to create the best podcasts and build a significant following. In this training, we will take you by the hand and guide you step by step through the process of creating a successful podcast. You will learn how to create high-quality and high-value podcasts that listeners crave, and how you can get the word out to your target audience. Planning your podcast is a very important step in the process, and many marketers make the mistake of trying to wing it. This is not the right approach, and you will learn how to spend a small amount of time planning to create the very best podcasts for your audience. There are many ways that you can monetize your podcasts and earn a significant income from them every month. After all, it is going to take time and effort to produce your podcasts, so why not be rewarded for it? Use the techniques in this training to create really successful podcasts. Provide your listeners with the content that they want, and they will be hungry for more. It's a lot easier to stand out from the crowd with podcasting rather than blogging and video marketing if you know the right techniques to use. Growing your podcast listener numbers. You need to do everything you can to grow your podcast listener numbers. We will discuss some of the best methods to do this in this video. It is not going to be easy, but with the right amount of determination, you can grow your podcast audience significantly. It is essential that you are consistent with your podcasting. This means that you must always provide value to your listeners and that you publish a new podcast on a regular basis. The frequency of publishing is up to you. It can be weekly, fortnightly, or even every day if you have the time and content to do this. Just be consistent. As you grow your listener base, they will get used to your podcast publishing schedule. They will be very disappointed if you miss a week, for example. So you need to get organized for podcast creation, as we discussed in an earlier video, and give your listeners what they want when they expect it. Let's assume that you are going to publish a new podcast once a week. Choose the same day to publish. So if you launch a new podcast every Friday, then your listeners will get into the habit of tuning into your podcast channel every Friday and expect a new podcast to be there for them. Some listeners will arrange their lives around your podcast day. They will download your podcast and listen to it while they're doing something else, such as driving to work. So don't let them down. If you start missing Fridays, then they will soon give up on your channel and look elsewhere. We strongly recommend that you record a number of podcasts in advance so that publishing every week is a lot easier for you. So, for example, you could record 4 podcasts over a weekend, and that has you covered for the upcoming month ahead. You need good reviews and ratings. You're not going to encourage new listeners if you don't have any good reviews or ratings for your podcasts. Even worse than this is to have a number of negative reviews on your podcast channel. People have become accustomed to look for reviews before they act. They do not want to be the first to try something, even when it is free. You have to provide sufficient evidence to a new listener that listening to your podcasts is going to be a good use of their time. Positive reviews and ratings are the best way to do this. So, ask your listeners to provide a review and rating for your podcasts at every opportunity. What happens if you receive a negative review? Well, the first thing to do is see if the review is justified. If it is, then you need to learn from it and thank the reviewer for their comments and explain that you will take their suggestions on board. Sometimes negative reviews are part of a smear campaign from competitors. If you suspect this, then contact the podcast directory administrator and ask for the comments to be removed. Unfortunately, some people will go to any lengths to try and sabotage their competitors. When you have a really large listener base, there is always a chance that you will receive some negative reviews. You need to be strong when this happens and respond swiftly to the comments. It is impossible to please all of the people all of the time. If your reviews are mainly positive, then nobody is going to mind a few negative reviews. Take a look at your podcast statistics, and if you see that your podcasts are being streamed and downloaded in significant numbers, then remind yourself that you are on the right track. Don't be disheartened by the minority. Ask your friends and family to leave the first few positive reviews to get you started. You need something for potential listeners to see. Promote your podcasts. Most successful marketers spend about 20% of their time on creating content and the remaining 80% on promotion. You need to do this as well. Just because you built it doesn't mean that they will come. Consistent promotion of your podcasts is the best strategy. The first step is to really know who your target audience is. When you know this, you can find out where they hang out. If your audience is younger, then they will probably use Instagram, Snapchat, Reddit, etc. And if they are older, then try Facebook, Pinterest, and forums, for example. So if your audience are going to be on Facebook, you can use Facebook ads to reach out to them. Facebook has a great retargeting system, which means that if a person shows an initial interest, they get cookied, and then you can retarget them again. A retargeted individual is warm. They have already discovered you and your brand, and it is much easier to convert them than it is with cold leads. You can use an incentive to convert both cold and warm leads and get them onto your email list. Once they have subscribed, tell them about your podcasts. Podcast contests. Once you have a good number of listeners to your podcast, you can hold a contest. Some examples could be the best post about your podcast on Facebook, the best review left, the best tagline idea for your podcast show. Think about what you want to achieve here. Do you want more people to leave a post on Facebook about your podcast so that you can increase your reach? Or do you want to get more good reviews on your channel? Always give the contest winner a good prize for participating. If you have created your own products, then you could give the winner access to this for free. You can get some branded items that are useful, in other words USB sticks, and give these away to the runners-up, for example. Always name the winner on one of your podcasts and reach out to them and ask if they want to be interviewed. Tell them that they can have a 60-second slot to promote their business if they want to. How to promote offers through podcasts. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't promote related offers in your podcasts. They are your podcasts, so you can do what you want. Nobody is going to try and persecute you for promoting in your own podcasts. It is a lot easier to stand out with podcasting than with other forms of media. The competition in podcasting is a lot lower than video, and if you have had the courage to record your voice and make it public, then you should get something in return for your efforts. Just follow these steps to promote offers in the best way. Use subtlety. We would always recommend that you get a few podcasts under your belt and build up a following before you start to promote offers. When you do start the promotion of offers, don't make it too sales-oriented, as your listeners will not be happy with this. In the beginning, it will take a while for your listeners to get to know you, so don't hit them with offers right out of the gate. This is very unlikely to work, and you will probably lose a lot of listeners if you do this. You need to be more subtle. We understand that you have put in a great deal of time and effort, and probably money, to create your podcasts. You want to get a return as soon as possible. But you have to be patient with podcasting, and your promotional messages must be subtle. One of the best ways of making a promotion is to mention it in the intro and outro of your podcast. So, at the beginning of the podcast, tell the listeners who you are and provide a bit of background. Then, announce your offer and tell your listeners that there is more information in the podcast notes if they are interested. Start the podcast normally after this. When your podcast ends, just gently remind your listeners about your offer and tell them to check out the notes and description for more details. All you are doing here is sharing the information with your audience. There is no hard selling involved. Providing value is your top priority. All of your podcasts need to add value, and you need to think of a good way to interweave your offer into this subtly. A good way to do this is discuss pain points with your listeners and telling them that you have the answer to their problems and can relieve their pain. The answer, of course, is your offer. Tell your listeners about the benefits they will receive by taking up your offer today. Explain that the product will provide the solutions to their problems. Help them by guiding them through how to use the product so that they can benefit. This approach is a helpful one rather than a sales-oriented one. You are teaching your listeners how they can solve some of their problems, which will be appreciated. Of course, they will need to purchase your offer to find out exactly what they need to do, but that is fine. People do not like to be sold to, but they will always appreciate it if you are trying to help them. This is the promotion strategy that you need to use with your podcasts. Other successful podcasters have been doing this for a long time because it works so well. Provide alternative offers to your listeners. The same offer is probably not going to fit well with all your podcasts, so you should have some alternative offers lined up that will help your listeners. Never be shy when it comes to promoting another offer. If you don't have a product of your own that is a good fit, you can promote someone else's product for an affiliate commission. Your aim with any offers that you make needs to be to help your listeners. If an affiliate product is the best way to do that, then go for this. Your listeners will respect you for letting them know that these products exist to help solve their problems. Always promote quality products and services. If you're going to promote an affiliate offer, then check it out yourself first. If you promote something of poor quality, then your reputation will take a nosedive and you could undo all the hard work that you have put in.